Well, I'm very pleased to bring you the October international update for Operation Mobilisation. I've just returned from Australia. One reason for going was to take the marriage service of my former secretary, but I also took the opportunity to visit Doulos in Sydney and our Australian office in Melbourne. Appreciate your prayers for the Ministry of MV Doulos. I think everybody on board would agree that at the present time there's a real lack of leadership on board, particularly pastoral leadership. And we're approaching one or two people within the ship ministry to go and fill that gap. And I'd appreciate your specific prayers that the right person will respond to that request. It's good to visit the Australian office. Because of the visit of the Doulos, they're going to be very, very busy in the coming months. You know that Jonathan Rodwell some time ago had a very major operation. He's doing really well, but continuing medical challenges face Jonathan. Whilst I was there, he had to have another small op, so I'd appreciate your continued prayers for Jonathan. I'm sure you're all praying for the nation of Pakistan after the stepping down of the president and the huge bomb that destroyed the hotel. Please pray for stability in that country. Myanmar continues to be an opportunity for us amidst all the sadness following Cyclone Nargis, which devastated much of the country in May. We're going to continue relief work there until December, when the assisted rice crop will be able to be harvested. 7 staff and volunteers travel to villages taking rice, clothes and fertilizer to complete the rice seed project. They donated building materials for 2 schools and brought school uniforms, bags and stationery for the students. Materials to build another well in a nearby village were also given. I know that many of you have given for that project. You've given finance for that project. Thank you. And it's being used every day by our teams in Myanmar. In Nepal, the proposed National Training Centre is becoming a reality and will enable sustainable income generating projects to begin. Planning is well advanced for the winter outreach programme, and they expect 100 participants from Nepal to be involved in this outreach. Over the past few years, we've seen many turning to faith through this outreach. We don't want to take that for granted and would appreciate your prayers for that project. In Azerbaijan, a few years ago, you could never have imagined a missions conference taking place. OM hosted the first one in 2004, and every year it seems there's a growing interest amongst the Azeri believers and local churches to get involved in global missions. George Verwer was the guest speaker in 2006. Azeri pastors led the conference themselves in 2007, and Julian Lidston, the leader of our ministry in Western and Central Asia, was the guest speaker at this year's conference. Over the 5-year history of this conference, more than 200 short-term teams have gone out after the conference in Azerbaijan and into 10 neighbouring countries, as well as far-off lands such as India. Please pray for the Azeri Church and for the hundreds who've attended these conferences over the past 5 years. I think we need to see the Azeri Church really grasping a vision for long-term mission as well as short-term mission. The nation of Pakistan, for which I've already asked for prayer, celebrated its 61st Independence Day recently. 90,000 pieces of literature entitled Actual Independence were given out in Punjabi and Sindhi cities on that day. This piece of literature explained that although there's official freedom, sin still reigns in the lives of men and women. Pray for the seed of God's word to bear fruit. And I know many of you will be praying faithfully for for the land of India. In the aftermath of the murder of a Hindu Swami by unknown assailants, mobs attacked the Christian community, to begin with across Orissa, but that violence is now spreading to the surrounding states. Please pray for Joseph D'Souza, for Sam Paul, and for many other OM leaders and Christian leaders in India as they approach the government and as they seek to put pressure on to see this violence brought to an end. Among the many schools attacked has been a Dalit education centre. It was a rented premises, but it was burnt to the ground. No children or staff, thank God, were at the school, and the Dalits had left for the surrounding forests and mountains, fearing further attacks. I heard the news just yesterday that the first 30% of the payment for Logos 2 has come through to our bank. Many of you have been praying for the sale of Logos 2, and it does seem finally that that sale is going through. Thank you for your prayers for that. An inspector was recently, or a surveyor was recently on board Logos Hope, giving early indications about what's required for the passenger safety certificate, and that inspector or surveyor gave an extremely positive report about the ship. There's still much to be done, but thank God it's being done. We had a wonderful, wonderful weekend in Malaysia for people who were interested in donating to the Logos Hope, and they gave extremely generously. It probably means we now have enough money to complete the Logos Hope project. The challenge, however, is the daily operating costs for the ship ministry, and there's still great needs there. So we thank you for your prayers and your support. We deeply appreciate your fellowship with us, and I'll talk to you in a month's time. Thank you very much indeed.